I don't know, but I have become obsessed with my hands, my own hands. In the isolation of the lately moment, I have spent so much time I now realize looking at them, looking at the gestures they make on screen when I speak, gestures that are natural now, but were perhaps once acquired things, an intention to have the hands I have now that move the way they do with angles and clarities, and my nails grow long and red, and they look so on purpose, which is of course intentional. And it feels like this is myself, the only part of myself where I recognize myself as the person I intended to become and have perhaps became. Unclear, so perhaps not, perhaps still trying, is my hands.
I miss speed. I miss fast feelings, allowing myself to have them, my body to catch up with my racing thoughts. I miss being in between, on a train in the middle of the sky, the overground, the bus, a car, a cab, the back of a scooter. Miss being chased by time, being in transit. I actually miss being in transit. Miss the excitement of not knowing what the other side would look like, smell like, feel like. That life that has become a natural thing, but was a thing I made an intention to live the life I live now. Lived until now. To move the way I do, I did. And it feels like only in this fastness and in this in-betweenness I can recognize all versions of myself, all parts, not just the parts of the person I intended to become, and I actually became, also the parts of the person I left behind. I miss for everything to be fast.
When feeling is fast when a person's blood is speeding, when there is nowhere for the speed to be, the kind of electrical feeling of too much when there is not enough.
I miss fast feelings, allowing myself to
When feeling is fast when a person's blood is speeding, when there is nowhere for the speed to be, the kind of electrical feeling of too much when there is not enough. When feeling is fast when a person's blood is speeding, when there is nowhere for the speed to be, the kind of electrical feeling of too much when there is not enough.
Miss the excitement of not knowing
When
what the
feeling
other
is
side
fast
would
when a
look
person's
like,
blood is
smell like,
speeding,
feel
when there
like.
is nowhere for the speed to
That
be, the
life
kind of
that has
electrical
become a
feeling
natural
of too
thing,
much
but
when
was
there
a
is
thing I
not
made an
enough.
intention to live the life I live now.
When feeling is fast when a
Lived
person's
until
blood is
now.
speeding, when there
To
is
move the
nowhere
way
for
I
the
do,
speed
I
to be,
did.
the kind of
And it
electrical
feels
feeling
like
of
only
too
in this
much when there is
fastness and
not
this
enough.
in-betweenness I can recognize all versions of myself,
When
all
feeling is fast
parts,
when a person's
not
blood is
just the parts
speeding,
of
when
the
there is
person I
nowhere for the
intended to
speed to
become,
be,
and
the
I
kind of
actually
electrical
became,
feeling of too
also the
much when
parts of
there
the
is
person I
not
left
enough.
behind. I miss for
When feeling
everything
is
to
fast
be
when a person's
fast.
blood is speeding, when there is nowhere for the speed to be, the kind of electrical feeling of too much when there is not enough. Electrical feeling of too much when there is not enough. When feeling is fast when a person's blood is speeding, I don't know, but I have become obsessed with my feeling of too much when there is not enough.
I miss speed. I miss fast feelings, allowing myself to have them, my body to catch up with my racing thoughts. I miss being in between, on a train in the middle of the sky, the overground, bus, a car, a cab, the back of a scooter. Miss being chased by time, being in transit. Actually miss being in transit. Miss the excitement of not knowing what the other side would look like, smell like, feel like. That life that has become a natural thing, but was a thing I made an intention to live perhaps became lived until now, to move the way I did, I did. And it feels like only in this fastness and in this in-betweenness I can recognize all versions of myself, all parts, not just the parts of the person I intended to become, and I actually became, also the parts of the person I left behind. I miss for everything to be fast.
Electrical feeling of too much when there is not enough.
My name tattooed as wings on my ankles, because feet are for flying.
I'm feeling as back in a person's body. I don't know, but I have become obsessed with my feeling of too much conversing.
I miss speed, I miss fast feelings, allowing myself to have my body to catch up with my gestures. I miss feeling of too much on a train and out of the sky, or perhaps when I sit crying, stuck on a scooter. Miss being chased by time, being with actions, being friends. Miss the excitement of feeling. I miss being in the world, where arrival and departure are only ever a couple of desires away, accumulating impressions of different nows. I want the world to be big again. I miss the sense of all-at-onceness, being able to be anywhere in a heartbeat, for you to never be further away than the instruction to fasten my seatbelt. I miss the constant switching between the loud rushing of racing bodies and the calm breathing of being suspended. I miss dancing with friends. I want for everyone to be in the world again with me.
I've been collecting pieces of brick on the beach. I like the deep color. They are more porous than other rocks because they are not other rocks. They are rounded pieces of brick that have eroded themselves at the side of the lake. A made thing that is trying to camouflage on the beach. Although all the other rocks are also made things, made on different time scales though. I do not miss anything, or rather, I missed already was being eroded at the edges by the slowness, was already syncopated with my surroundings.
I want the world to be big.
I do not miss being eroded at the edges of my life. There are different kinds of stopping, and some stopping can be the antidote for other kinds of stopping, a large halting to understand the smaller suspension. I do not miss anything.
Today it's April 18th. 7 years on a different time scale. That seems redundant at this point. I like the confidence in your voice when you say,
because they are not other rocks, they are rounded pieces of brick that have eroded themselves.
Just before you say you don't miss anything. I miss a million things. People, places, smells, sensations. But in a way, I always do. Never all the things I love in the same place. We talked about erosion before. It seems like ages ago. But again, that is measuring time in a time scale that is maybe no more. Slow time, long term, invisible changing that cannot be reversed. Caused by dynamic activities of erosive agents. Water, ice, snow, air, wind, plants, animals, humans. Memories as erosive agents chipping away at the edges of emotional landscapes. Today I miss the sun. Slow time, long term, invisible changing that cannot be
It isn't
reversed.
true when I say I don't miss anything.
Activities
What I mean
of
is I don't miss
erosive
anything
agents.
new. I don't miss
Water,
anything now
ice,
that I
snow,
didn't miss before.
Air, wind, plants, animals, humans.
I miss a million things.
Memories as
People,
erosive
places,
agents chipping away at
smells,
the edges of
sensations.
emotional landscapes. Today I miss the sun.
I don't know, but I have become obsessed with my hands, my own hands. In the isolation of the lately moment, I have spent so much time I now realize looking at them, looking at the gestures they make on screen when I speak, gestures that are natural now, but
Slow
were perhaps
time,
once
long
acquired
term,
things from the
invisible
attention to have the
changing
hands I
that
have now,
cannot
that move
be
It isn't
reversed.
true
With
when I
anger,
say I
caused
don't miss
by
anything.
dynamic activities
What I mean
of
is I don't
erosive
miss anything
agents.
new. I don't miss
Water,
anything
ice,
now that I
snow,
didn't miss
air,
before. Part of myself
wind,
where I recognize
plants,
myself as
animals,
the person I
humans.
intended to become.
I miss a
have
million
perhaps
things.
seen
Memories as
people,
erosive
places,
agents chipping away at
smells,
the edges of
sensations.
emotional landscapes. Today I miss surprise. I miss making a stranger smile. I miss for a stranger to make me smile.
I don't know, but I have become obsessed with my hands, my own hands.
Surprise. The feeling caused by something unexpected or unusual. Something that surprises. To strike with wonder or amazement, especially because unexpected. An attack made without warning. A taking unawares.
Today I'm a surprise.
I read something about patterns, pattern recognition. It only barely makes sense. The pieces are put beside each other, but the through line is faint. Perhaps another pattern to be recognized. Perhaps the point is that it does what it says. Perhaps there is no pattern. I read something about patterns, pattern recognition. It only barely makes sense. The pieces are put beside each other, but the through line is faint. Perhaps another pattern to be recognized. Perhaps the point is that it does what it says. Perhaps there is no pattern.
Mira stands on her head.
I read something about patterns, pattern recognition. It only barely makes sense.
A ghost appears.
The pieces are put beside each other, but the through line is faint.
Another ghost appears.
Perhaps another pattern to be recognized. Perhaps the point is that it does what it says. Perhaps there is no pattern.
You move. You move. Mira stands on her head. Mira stands on her head. Mira shifts her body. You move. A ghost appears. Another ghost appears. Another ghost appears. Another ghost appears. Mira turns into a ghost. Another ghost appears. You move. You move.
I think I stopped missing. My longings have disappeared into a distance, so far away I can barely recall their outlines. And the thought keeps coming back. Maybe it's not so much that I miss my freedoms, but that my longings are my freedoms. Other words for freedom, suggestions are ability, exemption, flexibility, immunity, opportunity, power, privilege. Other words for longing, ambition, aspiration, craving, wishing, yearning, hunger, thirst, coveting. There's also the itch and the urge. 20 years ago, I first felt the fear of not feeling free.
When you talk about freedom and longing, it sounds like you are talking about fearing death. In the show I am watching, a whole country floods in a storm, and I keep pausing it to look up the elevation of places. The city I want to live in is 5 meters. The one I do live in is 75 meters. The one you live in is 11 meters. It is comforting to trade one emergency for another. The flooding show is about the complacency of privilege, I think. The privilege of assuming that the emergency will always be elsewhere. It sounds like you are talking about fearing death. In the show I am watching, a whole country floods in a storm, and I keep pausing it to look up the elevation of places.
It's still very unclear. There's a lot. It's clear there's a lot of work.
Stars wait for no one. The desire to have things that are pleasurable is so great right now. Stars wait for no one.
No one forwaits Starster.